Good evening. Let me welcome everyone to the council meeting for Monday, September 25th. Please join me in standing for the invocation to be given by Council Member Freeman.
Bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the blessings you've given us. Thank you for letting us all come together as members of this town. Please help us and make decisions tonight with wisdom and compassion for this town, with all of our citizens in mind. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Good evening one more time. Again, welcome back. Welcome one more time to Monday's council meeting, Monday, September 25th. For the record, we have all council members except Ms. Danny. Ms. Danny is going to be absent. With the 6 of the 7 council members present, we have quorum. The first item is introduction of a new town engineer, Matt.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's my honor and privilege to introduce our new town engineer, Matt Holzapfel. Matt comes to the town of Sunnyvale with almost 40 years of experience in civil engineering in municipal government. 38 of that career was spent at one community, which is the city of Mesquite. Matt was so well regarded at the city of Mesquite that they named the latest pump station the city of Mesquite built, located out on I-20 in Kaufman County, after him because of his dedicated service to the city of Mesquite. He retired for a brief period and then went to work for the city of Heath as a public works director. And it was just an interesting opportunity came available, and Matt decided to take a look at the town of Sunnyvale. He's very familiar with our community, having been in Mesquite for many, many years. He has worked with the previous town engineer and other staff members at the town of Sunnyvale over his career. He does have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Illinois. Actually started at the city of Champaign back in 1977 in the Public Works Department as a concrete finisher. So when I say this gentleman has literally done everything in public works you can think of, I think he pretty much checks all those boxes. He's a life member of the American Society of Civil Engineers and has been a member since 1980. He's a life member of the American Public Works Association as well as the American Waterworks Association, and was also on the Public Works Council for the North Central Texas Council of Governments from 2004 to 2009. And he was also serving on the Regional Stormwater Management Program Coordinating Council for NetCog since 1992. He was an assistant scoutmaster for 22 years. He is a strong family man of faith, and has been a Mesquite resident for a very, very long time. So he has a very short drive to come to work every day, which I think he appreciates, not crossing the bridge to head east anymore. But even more than that, I think he truly understands what a great opportunity we have here in Sunnyvale. And so it's truly an honor and a privilege that we're able to add Matt Holzapfel as our new town engineer. So please help me welcome him to the podium.
You thought I forgot that, right?
no, I remember exactly. God, I still can't believe that.
It's all right, it's all right.
At the beginning and the end, I think. Don't you do it.
Yeah. Matt, thank you. Thanks for being here. We welcome you officially to Town of Sunnyvale. Yes, sir. Okay, next is announcements and acknowledgement. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0415, mayor, council, and staff may report on various items. Items are listed on the agenda. Would anyone like to make an announcement for the council? Staff?
Mayor and council, I would like to remind everybody that next Tuesday night, October the 3rd, is National Night Out at the Town Center Park. And I believe it is from 6 to 9, I believe, unless Chief says differently. And then Veterans Day is going to be Saturday, November the 11th from 9 to 11, and we have lots planned for that day. Super excited about it. And then Thanksgiving Day, we will host our annual turkey trot, start up at the school and finish there at the school as well. Race starts at 7:30 and registration starts at 7.
Mayor and council, if I can add, I hate to put both of the interim chiefs on the spot, but I heard there's a friendly competition going on.
Oh, yeah.
Related to National Night Out, I'm not sure, about some sort of blood drive. Is there police versus fire? Who's gonna donate the most blood? Is that correct?
So let me help you out, Chief. He's in. There is a blood drive, and it's not just between police and fire as far as like you have to be a police or you have to be a fire. You can be anybody, and you can choose to donate your blood to red or blue, and whoever wins gets a prize from Carter Blood Care. So you as a citizen can say, I want to donate towards police or I want to donate towards fire.
Which one's red and which one's blue?
Oh, come on.
Wanna say.
Jeez. Blue police, red fire.
Just vote red, you'll be fine.
There you go. Now you know.
Now, also, will we have the dunk tank at the,
And
Nice.
Chief Vegas is going to be in it.
yes, excellent.
So who's gonna get dunked?
Oh, we
You?
forgot to tell you.
Okay, I'm not getting dunked, I can tell you right now.
You gonna do it?
No, I'm not doing it.
That
I
was
was drinking a lot
Rachel's
of water
idea
that
for the
day.
record. I just want to be very clear, that was Rachel's idea, Mayor.
What is that? I'm not. That's gonna be a long line of people, sorry.
We'll just, one more friendly competition. Our animal shelter is full, and we have housed a lot of animals all summer. It's been a very hot summer, and we need all the help we can get to spread the news about getting some of these animals adopted. So I've asked all the departments to have a little competition to see who will share the most animal shelter pages and help get animals adopted, and I am, at least after week one, we'll have to say the police department has taken a clear advantage. So, but be aware the other departments, I'm sure, are mounting a game plan to help us promote and get animals adopted. So, if anybody else would like to join in and share our post to get some animals adopted, we would appreciate it. There will be some animals there at, some dogs and cats at National Night Out as well. So if folks want to come by and go home with a dog or a cat, we're happy to accommodate them. It's free, and they'll be there for the pickings.
Very nice, very nice, thank you. Anything else? Okay, moving on to the public comment. This is the time members of the audience may come forward and speak to the council on any items other than legal or personal matters or items on the agenda. If anyone would like to come forward, you may do so at this time. No one is coming forward, so I'm going to close the public comments, moving on to the consent agenda items. Council, there are 2 items on the consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove either of the items from the consent agenda? If not, can I have a motion to approve consent agenda item 3 and 4?
Motion to approve consent agenda item 3 and 4.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman, second by Mr. Eldridge to approve consent agenda item 3 and 4. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed. 6 Ms. Danny is absent. Moving on to the presentations and updates. Number 1, number 5, presentation update from the citizen survey results. Good evening, gentlemen. Jeff, you're going to introduce
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, George, and council. We're pleased to have representatives from POCO here tonight. I'll ask Jason Newmeyer to come up and introduce himself, and Joseph as well. But as you know, POCO is not only our community survey platform, but it is also a community engagement platform as well. And I think tonight you're going to learn about some of the feedback that our community has given us through the National Community Survey, which is administered by POCO. And there's a wealth of information. There's a summary in the agenda packet. You're going to see a summary of some of the results here tonight by Jason. But certainly we'll have all of the results available online and available for our community members to go and take a look at their leisure. But again, just as a reminder, POCO is actually a community engagement platform where we can reach out to our residents on a regular basis and survey them on any particular topic. So tonight it's just reviewing the results of the National Community Survey. So I will turn it over to Jason and Joseph, who came all the way down here from Wisconsin. So we appreciate them being here.
Yeah, that we did. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, it's much warmer here, especially. Yeah.
Welcome, welcome.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Mayor, council members, directors, thank you for your time tonight. As Jeff said, my name is Jason Newmeyer, and I'm happy to be here with you to present a summary of findings for Sunnyvale's National Community Survey. Before I begin here, on behalf of myself, Joseph, who came with me, and the rest of my POCO and NRC coworkers, we'd like to extend a special thank you to Jeff Jones and Dorothy White. They were our primary contacts throughout this process, and they really provided us with a lot of feedback during survey development and during the implementation process. And that feedback and importance that was relayed to your residents really shows in the amount of engagement that we saw here throughout this process. So just before we begin, a thank you to Jeff. And with that, let's see here. Let's dive on in. So a little bit about us and who we are for those of you who are new to POCO. POCO's online engagement polling platform really provides the information tools that local governments and other public sector leaders need today. We have over 500 organizations nationwide that use POCO for strategic planning, for budgeting, for empowering their resident voices. We make civil, verified community engagement online not only possible, but accessible to all. NRC, the National Research Center, and POCO merged in 2019 to effectively serve local governments and to project resident voices even further. So now a little bit about the National Research Center at POCO. The NRC gives local governments and other public sector organizations the data that they need to make informed decisions, and these informed decisions really come about through our benchmarking surveys. And we have an example of one today, the National Community Survey. We also offer the National Employee Survey and the Community Assessment for Older Adults, among others. Our benchmarking database is the largest of its kind in the United States and actually has been gathering resident feedback and data for 30 plus years. You can see also on the screen that we are exclusive partners with ICMA, with the National League of Cities, with the engaged local leaders, engaged local government leaders, the Alliance for Innovation, and we also work closely with UW-Madison and with the Hoover Institute at Stanford University. So before we dive into the results here for Sunnyvale, I do want to emphasize that there are a variety of ways in which these results can be used. Most commonly, we see jurisdictions use the survey data to monitor trends in resident opinion over time, to measure government performance and ratings of public trust, and to inform budgeting processes and to update strategic plans. Our results also allow you to benchmark your community's specific characteristics and your community's services against those same characteristics within other communities by using our benchmarking database. Our hope ultimately today is that these findings, as they're presented, will spur ideas for you on what can be done with these results or areas that you might want to dig deeper. So the National Community Survey, or the NCS, is the survey that was just finished up here in Sunnyvale, and it's a standardized 5-page comprehensive survey that allows municipalities to assess resident opinion about their community and about you all, about local government. The NCS focuses on the livability of Sunnyvale by categorizing survey questions into these 10 facets that you see on the screen here. These facets have been identified through decades of extensive survey research as those that are most impactful to residents' quality of life. These facets also tend to align with municipal departments, making it easy for staff to quickly find the information that is of most importance to them within your final report of results. The NCS includes items within each of these 10 facets to provide a full picture of how residents feel about their community. These items are grouped together on the survey, which you can see the first 2 pages on the screen. A full length survey can be found at the end of the report, which was presented to you as well. These items are grouped together on the survey and not only ask about residents' feelings towards specific topics, like safety, seen in question 4, or traffic and infrastructure conditions found in question 7. But the NCS also asks about the quality of services that are provided by the town, shown here in question 9, and concludes by asking residents which of these 10 facets are the most important areas of focus for the town over the next 2 years. You can see
Jason,
that.
question person. So
Sure.
this is the same set of questions you use across the board, or you customize it?
Correct. So the first 12 questions are the exact used across the board, a little bit of tweaks to fit your community, but that allows us to benchmark you against all of the others that have answered this survey. Questions 13, 14, and 15 that you see on the screen were custom questions that were added, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of those specifics a little bit later. But yeah, the first 12 are standardized, and we'll see those comparisons coming up. And like I said, a complete copy of this survey can be found at the end of the report, the PDF report that was provided to city leadership, or town leadership, excuse me.
Yeah.
All right, great. So next we'll discuss some of the specific details here regarding this most recent implementation for the NCS. All households within Sunnyvale were eligible to participate in the survey, and a list of households within the zip code serving Sunnyvale was purchased from the United States Postal Service with their most updated listings. Using the GIS boundary files that were provided by the town, addresses located outside of Sunnyvale's boundaries were removed from the list of potential households that made up our final sample. And from that list, a census sample of 2,740 addresses were selected to receive the survey. Those 2,700 households received mailings beginning on May 18th, and the survey remained open for 6 weeks. The first mailing was a postcard inviting the household to participate in the survey. The next mailing contained a cover letter with instructions, a 5-page survey questionnaire, and a postage-paid return envelope. Both the postcard and the cover letter included a web link and a QR code to give residents the opportunity to respond online, should they so choose. And then a final reminder postcard was sent and asked those who had not completed the survey to do so, and to invite others within their household to participate as well. A total of 717 completed surveys were received from these efforts, providing a response rate of 26% and a margin of error of plus or minus 4%. We then compared the demographic profile of survey respondents to that of all adults living in Sunnyvale using the most recent census data and the most up-to-date American Community Survey, and weighted the final survey results. Weighting is a survey research best practice, and it helps to improve the representativeness of the final results you see. Now, one of the advantages to a local government participating in our community surveys is the opportunity to compare ratings given by your residents to those from communities around the nation. NRC was the first organization to conceive of this idea to create benchmarks of public opinion for local governments. This ultimately allows you to compare ratings of services to ratings of similar services in other communities. There are currently almost 600, we're going to have to update this slide, almost 600 communities across the nation that do this type of survey work with POLCO, and it represents the opinions of more than 50 million residents. Sunnyvale received comparisons to the entire benchmark database, which I will be referring to as national benchmarks from here on out, but they also opted to receive custom benchmark comparisons to a subset of communities within our database. This subset includes 30 communities from the South Central United States region with populations of less than 75,000 people. 20 of those communities were located right here in Texas, and the average population of those 30 communities was less than 30,000 people. So we'll see both national benchmarks to all of our database and those custom benchmarks as well to a smaller subset that reflects your community more closely. Just a little bit more detail here on our benchmarking database before we turn to the survey results. So as of the end of 2022, PULCO's comparative database of resident opinion is comprised of perspectives that are gathered through 3,400 individual survey implementations from over 1,200 jurisdictions across the U.S. The residents in these communities evaluated the same kinds of topics that were found in Sunnyvale's National Community Survey. The database includes survey results from a period spanning from 1987 through today. PULCO will add the latest results quickly upon survey completion to our database, keeping the data fresh and relevant. And all of the comparisons found within the report that we submitted to you the comparisons have been completed, the surveys that we compared to have been completed within the last 5 years, so up-to-date comparisons. The jurisdictions within the database also represent a wide geographic and population range, which you can see here on the left-hand side. About 11% of the jurisdictions are counties, while the remainder are municipalities, and about 40% of the surveys in our database are from an implementation of the National Community Survey, the survey that you just completed. All right, so let's turn to the results here then from the survey that just wrapped up. In the NCS, we have 2 questions that ask directly about those 10 facets of livability we identified earlier. The first question asks residents to rate the importance of these facets and whether or not these topics should be essential areas of focus for the town in the upcoming 2 years. You can see the resulting comparison to the national benchmark in the shading on the chart here. Everything was in line with national comparisons. And the overall feelings of safety, you can see here, received the highest level of importance from residents at 94%. Yep, we can go back.
This is personally essential for everybody. So give me a second. The overall health and wellness opportunity, 63%. What does that mean?
So the overall health and wellness opportunities, this is a rating of importance for the town to focus on those areas in the next 2 years. On our next slide, we'll look at the quality rating there. And all of these overalls are individual survey questions, but you'll see as we get a little later, there are sub-questions. So there are about 6 or 7 questions that make up that total facet.
So if I compare the number one, overall economic health, so what the residents is telling us is that they want us to focus on the economic
Correct.
as compared to the health and wellness, it's a less priority for them.
Correct,
Okay.
yes. So these ratings are those who said that these are essential or very important areas to focus
I'm
on.
very surprised the overall opportunity for education, culture, and the arts is so low. Okay.
We might see that later on. You'll see your ratings for education were rather high, so it might be the fact that that's already something that they value and see as high quality. That could be a reason, and we'll look at that in a
Yeah,
few
that's
slides.
actually what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They just don't think that we need to focus on it. They're basically saying, as the town level, the school district's doing a great job, you guys don't need to spend any effort on it.
Maybe.
Mhm.
I think you're right. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
So then this next chart here is going to look at the quality rating. So the first one was importance. What should you focus on? This is the overall quality rating. So we ask ultimately about the quality and importance of each of these facets, and then we use these answers to create a quality importance matrix, which I'll flip to next. The quality importance matrix, which is also included in your report, can help to determine those areas that are of relatively higher importance and of lower quality to residents. That's really the area of focus. That's going to be our bottom right quadrant here. This chart is just one of many ways to help interpret the data and can be used to identify key findings or help a community to determine which areas need additional focus or resource allocation, but it can also be used to see those areas where you are performing well by comparison.
So what does the star indicate?
So the left to right is going to be the importance rating. So higher to the right is higher importance ratings. Vertically is quality. So higher up on this chart is going to be higher quality. So that bottom right quadrant is your area where residents are saying this is really important, but it has the lowest quality rating. The fact that you only have 1 utilities in that is good, rather impressive. But you can see again, safety is kind of our top concern, but also our highest quality. So a pretty good match. Yeah. When we see a positive trend like this, that's usually a good sign. All right. So in digging a little bit deeper then on the national benchmarking for surveys, Sunnyvale's recent report, we find that of the 123 survey items for which residents provided direct evaluations, 9 items received more positive ratings than the national benchmark, 97 received similar ratings, and 17 received more negative ratings. Ratings are considered similar if they are within 10 points of the national average, and higher or lower than benchmark if they are 10 points different from the average. This is our national comparisons. These are our peer community comparisons, or our custom benchmarks to that smaller subset of communities. And just as a reminder here, there are 30 communities in this custom subset, and 20 of those communities were located here in Texas, and the average population here is less than 30,000 people. So this is more akin to what we see in Sunnyvale as opposed to our national ratings.
Is it 75,000 or 30,000?
So the populations of all of these are populations less than 75,000 with an average of under 30,000. So there's a couple that are a little bit higher, but most of them are in that 30,000 range or less. So then of these 123 survey items, we can see 99 received similar ratings, 12 were more positive than the custom cohort, and 12 received more negative ratings. And we'll take those in turn here next. So in order to see these comparisons more fully, we have pulled together a table here of those 12 more positive ratings when looking again at the custom benchmark comparisons. You can see here in the table first the percent positive ratings that residents provided, as well as the overall rank of Sunnyvale, the number of communities in the comparison group, and finally the percentile rank in that final column on the table. Sunnyvale rated higher than the custom cohort across a number of quality of life measures, including scoring in the 96th percentile for Sunnyvale as a place to live and Sunnyvale as a place to raise children. The latter of those is probably related to the high ratings for K through 12 education, which received a much higher than benchmark score, meaning it was 20 points above our national average. In comparison to the other 23 communities in the cohort who ask this same question, Sunnyvale ranked the highest, number 1, or 100th percentile for K-12 education rankings. Residents' overall quality of life and the overall image or reputation of Sunnyvale were also among more positive scores, ranking in the top 3 among those comparison communities in our custom cohort.
Jason, can you
Yes.
stop for a second?
Sure.
The fifth and sixth, the value respective residents from diverse backgrounds,
Yes.
it's 100%. What does that really mean?
So that means that it's in the 100th percentile. So if you go two columns to the left, you can see it ranked first in out of 19 communities who asked that exact same question. And this is only of those communities who are under 75,000 and are located in the south central region of the United States.
So I'm sorry, number one, so 100% of the people thought this is,
No, so 78% gave you a positive rating. That's the first column there.
right?
But it's ranked as number 1 among the 19 who asked that question. So it's the 100th percentile, so highest rated,
19 communities asked the question.
who asked that exact same question. And again, this is our custom group, not national, but the custom who is more similar. Yeah, good question. The next slide is, the next slide is going to be our more negative ratings. The next table here shows those that received lower than benchmark comparisons to the custom cohort of communities. Many of these items relate to economic development questions, including shopping opportunities, employment opportunities, and the variety of business and service establishments here in Sunnyvale. The other major category here relates to the availability of activities and events, including recreational opportunities, programs, or classes, recreational centers or facilities, and the general opportunity to attend cultural, arts, or music activities. A complete list here shown in this table form can also be found in the report for both the national benchmarks and custom benchmarks that were calculated for Sunnyvale. Oh, of course.
So street repair is 16%. That means,
Right, that means you ranked 21st out of 24 communities in that cohort. And 30% gave that an excellent or good rating.
I would say that, I mean, a number of these, like for instance, we don't have bus or transit services. There's a lot of these that kind of really don't apply a lot to what
I agree
we're
with
doing.
that.
And some of them, of course, shopping opportunities could apply, but again,
Right.
I think that one is more of a focus area.
The recreational opportunity is something we can work on, right?
Retake the street repair part. Can we get higher on that?
The survey was taken in May through June, that is correct.
Yeah, the recreation programs, recreational opportunities, I think parks, that type of thing may be the only option, okay?
Right.
Overall health and wellness opportunities. Huh. What do you typically see in your, is that hospitals, is that clinics, or
It can be
fitness
both.
clubs, or what is generally in that?
So our fitness and recreational centers and fitness opportunities, that falls into our education, arts, and culture section. So the overall health and wellness opportunity is going to be affordable mental health care, affordable health care, access to clean water, those types of things, yeah.
Alan, did you get what you need?
We're good? Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
thank you.
So then we're going to move on to highlights, some of the highlights of the findings. I do want to point out a few things here that stood out to us as survey researchers and the rest of the Polko and NRC team. As you know, there's a lot of additional data in the full report that we won't cover here today. But the rest of the presentation will really focus on a few areas that we found to be most noteworthy, and those areas that custom questions were added to your NCS. So first and foremost, our key finding number one, Sunnyvale residents praise their overall quality of life in the town and feel a strong sense of community. So about 9 in 10 rated Sunnyvale as a place to live, and the overall quality of life in the town as excellent or good. In addition, roughly 9 in 10 residents plan to remain in the town for the next 5 years, and about 8 in 10 residents praise the overall reputation of Sunnyvale, a number higher than national benchmark comparisons. In addition, about 3/4 of respondents gave positive ratings to the sense of community here in Sunnyvale, and the job that the community does at valuing, respecting, and attracting residents of diverse backgrounds.
So where do you see that?
I'm sorry?
Where do you see that three-fourth?
It may not be one of the visuals on the screen,
Okay.
but it's definitely available in the final report, yeah.
So can you repeat that?
3/4 of respondents gave positive ratings to the sense of community here in Sunnyvale, and to the job that the community does at valuing, respecting, and attracting residents of diverse backgrounds. And each of those ratings were above average, national benchmarks. Yeah. And then finally, roughly 7 in 10 residents gave high marks to the community, making all residents feel welcome, the neighborliness of their residents, and the sense of civic or community pride, all on par with national comparisons. A second key finding here, many aspects of Sunnyvale's community design received positive reviews, but residents did identify some areas of potential opportunity here. So the overall design or layout of residential and commercial areas received positive reviews from about 2/3 of residents, while more than 8 in 10 rated this facet as an essential or very important area of focus for the next 2 years in the town. These ratings of quality and importance suggest that community design should continue to be an area of focus. About 9 in 10 residents offered high marks for their neighborhood as a place to live and for the overall appearance of Sunnyvale. And roughly 6 in 10 residents gave similar ratings to the town having well-designed neighborhoods, to the overall quality of new developments in Sunnyvale, and to the preservation of the historical or cultural character of the community. While similar to national averages, ratings for the availability of affordable quality housing, 42% excellent or good, and well-planned commercial growth, 36% excellent or good, indicate that these might be areas of opportunity or growth within this facet.
Could you, Jason, can you elaborate on the number 4, overall quality of new development? What is generally considered in that category?
So overall quality of new development, again, falls under the community design facet. The idea here is this is just one of many that make up this overall design, but overall facet, I should say. But the overall quality of new development is really looking at new residential development. There is a separate question for well-planned commercial growth, so we try to pull those apart. But the quality of new development is focusing more on the residential side.
I'm surprised because I thought our restaurants are pretty well designed and good quality restaurants. So
And that one is 62%. The one that is lower here, it's still in line with national comparisons, but you can see the two at the top. Those were the two lowest rated in this facet on the whole.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
And go back for 1 second.
Of
You said
course.
that's in par with the national,
It is.
and also is it in par with our more of our
It is.
focus
Yep.
group?
Yep.
Okay.
We showed all the lower or higher, and neither of those came up in the custom, nor the national
Right,
here.
okay.
Yeah. We have seen, obviously, any affordability question has slid over the last year plus or so. But that's why the benchmarking on those questions is so important, because if we see it everywhere and you're still in line, I mean, that means that number is going down at a pace that it is everywhere, unfortunately.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Great. So the NCS also has a space that you saw earlier, actually, questions 13, 14, and 15, where a community can add questions about current topical or policy interest areas. Sunnyvale included one custom question related to community design, which is shown here. Please rate how important, if at all, connected trails from your home to the following areas are, and you can see them listed. Results on the next slide indicate very high levels of support within Sunnyvale for increased community connectedness. We have those results here. As you can see, each of the alternative locations for trail connections that were listed were given at least a rating of somewhat important by a majority of Sunnyvale residents. Having trails connecting streets within residence subdivisions was given the highest importance rating, receiving essential, very important, or somewhat important ratings from nearly 9 in 10 respondents, 86%, followed by connecting subdivisions to schools, 81%, and connecting subdivisions to other subdivisions, 80%. Connecting subdivisions to commercial areas was seen as at least somewhat important to 2/3 of residents, while connecting Sunnyvale to other communities was supported by a slim majority of respondents at 55%. Key finding number 3 here, residents appreciate Sunnyvale's natural environment, but identify recreational opportunities as a potential focus area.
Yep.
Ratings for survey items related to the town's natural environment tended to be positive, with 85% of respondents giving excellent or good reviews to the overall quality of the natural environment in Sunnyvale. Around 2/3 of respondents positively evaluated Sunnyvale's air quality, the preservation of natural areas, Sunnyvale's open space, and yard waste pickup. Each of these were similar to trends seen around the United States.
So I'm a bit surprised, right? Sunnyvale has quite a bit of open space.
Mhm.
So are we saying that with the light gray color, are we saying that we are lower than the national average?
That is similar to, sorry, none of these are lower. None of these, there is no light lower on there.
Okay.
Yep, so the lighter gray you're seeing is similar to. And then the two, cleanliness and recycling, over 8 and 10 reported excellent or good ratings for those two, and those two ratings came in higher than national benchmark comparisons. Although 8 in 10 residents positively evaluated the overall quality of the town's parks and recreation system in line with national averages, ratings for fitness and recreational opportunities were not as positively reviewed as you can see here. Recreational programs or classes and recreational centers and facilities received excellent or good marks from 4 in 10 residents, scoring much lower than our national averages. And fitness opportunities and recreational opportunities also scored below the national benchmarks, indicating that these opportunities might be an area of growth for the town.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then finally, safety is a community strength, and it's still considered a top priority for residents. Safety and safety-related services received strong ratings from residents, with about 9 in 10 giving excellent or good ratings to the overall feelings of safety within the town. Overall, residents generally feel safe in Sunnyvale. Roughly 9 in 10 reported feeling very or somewhat safe in their neighborhood during the day and in Sunnyvale's commercial areas during the day. About 8 in 10 reported feeling safe from violent crime, property crime, and from flood, fire, or other natural disasters. Ratings for safety services also received rather strong marks from residents. Fire services received the highest score, with more than 9 in 10 evaluating this service as excellent or good. Animal control actually received positive evaluations from about 8 in 10 residents, scoring above our national averages. And ambulance, EMS, police services, and overall crime prevention received similar scores, while emergency preparedness and fire prevention were positively evaluated by 7 in 10 residents.
So these are all higher than national benchmarks?
They are all in line, except for, you can see the star there for animal control, but even though they're in line, 92, 86, 81, those are high marks, right? But
Still
they're all
80
in line.
Still 81%, right?
Exactly,
It's
right.
pretty high.
Exactly. Now, even amidst all these strong ratings, this facet of livability, safety, still received the highest level of importance out of all of the 10 facets of livability that we measure, meaning that residents place the importance of safety over other areas like infrastructure, community design, or even the economy. Around 95% of Sunnyvale residents stated that safety was an essential or very important area of focus for the town in the coming 2 years. All right, so these are the 4 summaries of conclusions from our survey research team at Pulco. Number 1, Sunnyvale residents praise their overall quality of life in the town and do feel a strong sense of community here. Number 2, many aspects of Sunnyvale's community design receive positive reviews, but residents did identify some potential areas of opportunity. Number 3, residents appreciate Sunnyvale's natural environment, but see recreational opportunities as a potential focus area. And finally, number 4, safety is a community strength, but still a top priority for residents. All right, I'm gonna take a breath. And I would love to go through a Q&A, a debriefing of these survey results. I'm sure you have some questions that either arose here during the presentation or during your review. We have a couple questions up here to jog the mind a little bit, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding survey design, implementation, or results. So take some time.
Council, any questions for Jason or Poco? Are there any questions? Okay, Jason, I guess there are no questions. Oh, you have one, Mr. Freeman? Thank you, sir. You may take a seat. Let me open up for public comment, see if anyone from the members of the audience would like to come forward and speak to the council on this item, you may do so. Okay. Do we need to adopt this one?
Mayor, there's no action required on this. This is a presentation.
Okay.
I will also add that the full report was included in the agenda staff report, and that's online for residents to see. We'll also add those that full report on our website. And we do have a different way to report the results also. There'll be a link to the results that people can click on the tabs for each one of the major.
Is that on the website?
That will be added to our website here shortly. So the full report will be available in a couple of different ways for our residents to access.
I'm assuming we'll add that to the news flash, that way people know it's on the website.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jason.
you.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
And the other gentleman, Poco.
Thank you both.
So Jeff, I'm assuming that when we meet in October or something for the strategy session, we will start discussing actions out of this one. Is that the plan?
Yes, sir. I think if there's some items that you want to pull out of the report and see how those align with your current strategic plan, or if there's something in the current strategic plan that maybe isn't in alignment with some of these results and you want to add a strategy or revisit something, obviously that's part of what this data can be useful to you as policymakers as well as us to staff.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks again. Jeff, thank you for organizing this one. Okay, number item, mayor and council requests for future staff updates, agenda item. Council, are there any requests, future staff updates or agenda? Okay, I guess there are none. Can I have a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to section 551.071?
Motion to adjourn. as stated.
Consultation with attorney to seek the advice of the town's attorneys about pending or contemplated litigation or a settlement offer or on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the government body under the Texas Project Downey.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor. I apologize.
No,
thought
sir.
you'd stopped.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. Freeman to adjourn to executive session. Are there any discussions? All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 6-0. Time is 7:45. We are in executive session. Okay, the time is 8:23. We are back in 8:22. We are back in open session. I can confirm that as a result of the executive session, no action is to be taken. With that, council can have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman, second by Mr. Finch to adjourn. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 6-0. Meeting is adjourned. Time is 8:23. Thank you, council. Thank you, staff, for all your help. Appreciate it.